Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minutes!
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minutes and Robin. This is the podcast where we somehow hurtle towards each minute of Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And I'm your other host, John Parker, and I will not shame you for where you choose to hang out.
So judgmental, that Dick, you know?
Yeah. He is. He's a dick.
Yeah. Although I think in the novelization at one point they point out, like, this was who he could have become had he not been taken in by Bruce Wayne. But he could have been a Spike.
Barbara.
No.
Oh, Spike.
But anyway, to discuss this minute, we also have returning for the final time this week, all the way from Barter Town and back again. It is Rick and Julia from Mad Max Minute.
Yes, we are here to help you execute episode 66.
Yeah.
Hey.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Thank you so much for having us this week.
No problem. This is a slight tinge of disappointment because Rick was trying to work out whether Minute 66 would be the Halloween episode. And it's like, if only. Holy crap. But no, you could time it to be, like, and then we could find some other arbitrary 6 to latch onto the episode. We do have, Minute 66 of this minute. That was a terrible sentence that I just tried to say there. But minute 66 begins with some mischievous Molotov mischief, and it ends a minute later with a pendulous predicament. So, yeah, we're getting into, again, did say that Spike, a little bit like Dick Dastardly in his wacky racist form. And this is just, the flat-out cheating. Like, this is a Dick Dastardly scenario. Like, I'm luring them down this route, and I've got, like, my buddies in full of, like, contraptions. Like, it ain't just like, oh, yeah, just throw something out in the road. It's like, no, they're in little, like, bungee cables and stuff to get down there to do this.
Do you think they overdid it? Did they need the bungee cables?
It adds a little bit of professionalism to the proceedings.
I mean, I do appreciate the theatricality of Spike's cohorts here, because for people that may be familiar with a little movie called Mad Max Fury Road, at one point you do have people swinging around on 20-foot-long poles throwing Molotovs at people.
And it's one of the greatest scenes in history.
Absolutely.
It is.
And this is just a petit soupçon of that sort of energy.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing that in the cinema. Like, me and my friend Steve went to, like, a Saturday matinee of Fury Road. And just that point of the movie where they're flying about in those big, long sticks, we're just like, this is fucking great. Like,
Yeah, that was my reaction as well. You're just like, this is perfection. This is the greatest moment of my life.
But yeah, it would be weird, like, afterwards, if someone, like Coolio or someone, with his, like, his jacket made out of used shoes is just like, that's a bit much, Spike, you know? Like, you gotta tone down a little bit.
Man. Also,
Rein it in.
This, tying into what we've talked about all week, is this the course still? Because why have they gone on to this unfinished bridge?
I have so many questions about this bridge.
So I am a proponent of the A to B, get there however you want to theory of this race course. And now that we have seen the end of this bridge, where there is no end of the bridge, this is absolutely Spike sabotaging the rest of the field.
Yeah.
I mean,
He lured them. He made sure that he was in front so that he could lure them down this bridge to their deaths.
So that would posit that this race is follow the leader. Like,
Yeah.
is that just, maybe the point of it is just like, someone get out in front, and then whoever can go the longest, you just have to
like
stay.
an endurance kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe it isn't to get to a finish line. It's just more to, like, hang
Last
on
to
until
survive.
you.
Maybe the point is to take out all of your
Ah.
Yeah.
oh, it's like a battle royale.
yeah.
Oh, that actually kind
That
of
actually-
salvages the whole thing now because it makes more
Yeah,
sense.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And that can be the video game we're making of the racing, the Batman
Right.
racing. It
I
can
see.
be
So maybe there
kind of
is no like point B. You just whoever's the last one, go back to the start, and hey, you won.
Battle Royale games are real big right now.
Mm.
yeah, we
They
haven't had
are.
enough of those yet.
That would really salvage too what Dick's doing, because if he was aware of like, oh yeah, you have to be the last one standing, that's why he would be into protect mode, because he's like, well, she might well die. It's not just trying to get to a finish line; she could get killed doing this. So it would make sense that he's hanging about. They're like, okay, I'm going to help out if I can and stuff.
To pull a Hunger Games,
Yeah.
yeah.
because there
Oh,
can't
you know
be two
what?
people if they're both in the race. One of them has to, I don't know, die. I mean, is it to the death?
No, I
That
think it's
seems
just if
extreme.
you're
Just-
taken out of the race.
Right. Your bike is no longer in a condition to race.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think Robin would. Rob, I always call him Robin, even though it's Dick. He would throw it. He wouldn't want to win.
Oh, yeah.
He'd-
Yeah, It's also it does. We were talking last minute about like why Barb isn't doing more stuff, and if it is like a battle royale, then yes, you definitely should be trying to like put something in the spokes of people's tires and stuff, or unless it's supposed to be like, no, I play clean. I'm not one who's going to try to harm you, but I will survive the whole thing. Like,
Yeah. Oh, it all makes more sense now.
yeah. This is stuff you should be
And-
putting in the goddamn script somewhere to be like, this is the scenario you're watching.
And now it makes me think of the old game instead of Mario Kart, Road Rash. If you remember that,
No, I don't think
it was a
I've heard.
motorbike racing game, and you get to like attack people with chains and things, and you'll be racing, and then random biker gangs will come up and just start like beating you with a baseball bat.
I want to say that was a Genesis exclusive. I think no, the Sega Genesis was called something else on your side of the pond.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Mega Drive.
The Mega
It's the
Drive.
Same.
But
I
yeah.
had the Mega Drive one. I don't know if was there other versions.
Oh, I had the Mega Drive too.
But like the whole
Oh,
thing was like
the number 2.
when you were playing it, I think you started off with a punch and then you could upgrade it to a pipe, but the best was the chain because you swung the chain over you and it
Yeah.
hit bikes on either side.
Ooh, oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty
It's
great.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe I'm getting here. Actually, it's a bit Road Rash, isn't it? And especially if it's a sort of a battle royale esque.
Yeah.
We're onto something here. We've figured this film out.
This also does weirdly remind me of in The Dark Knight, the other Nicky Cat scene. Because they have that bit then where, they're going down big trace on the 18-wheeler truck versus the little police van. And there's a bit then with the Joker's on going like, rack 'em up, rack 'em up, rack 'em up. And then it turns out he has guys up ahead to put these cables across to us to take out a helicopter. But it just struck me as a similar scenario where, again, Chris Nolan was watching these movies going, I'll just take a little thing there and pepper that into my film, I think, somewhere. And then go out and be like, it's a completely new take on Batman. You ain't seen nothing like it before, right?
Now, speaking of setups, we weren't privy to see this because we came in at minute 64, but at some point in last week's episode, Spike was talking to some of his cohorts and he sent them ahead to
Mm.
prepare this.
Yeah. Presumably with their bungee cables and stuff.
Yeah. One of the things I really like about this minute, and really the entire week of episodes, is that all of the fire effects have been green, which
Yeah.
means that someone has a lot of copper sulfate lying around.
Well, as you do. I mean, everybody has a cupboard full
Like,
of copper sulfate,
Of
right?
course, right?
I'm just assuming a lot of it's to do with the various pollutions that have gone on in Gotham. Because, the last movie, we seen like outside Arkham Asylum, there was green lightning. It was like greased lightning, greened lightning. But, so we're like, oh, maybe that's like 'cause the box had all the green brainwaves or whatever going throughout the air. They're still up in the stratosphere somewhere, so you're getting green lightning. And of course, way back in '89, like Batman cut off those Joker balloons full of Smilex over the sea somewhere. It could be still like to this day. We're like, yeah, it's like fracking going on. It's like, yeah, if you like light a match near the tap in Gotham, the things just erupt into green fire all of a sudden. It's like, yeah, really, like that's why the town's just getting worse. It's like, oh, it's just polluted. Like friggin' Max Shrek with his power plant and the friggin' Oswald Cobblepot sewer of gunk and all that crap. So
Hey, and we know from real life that these things do not get fixed. Not to get too serious for a minute, but as far as I'm aware, in America, in Flint, is the water still screwed?
Oh, yeah.
I think it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Nothing has changed.
All they got to do is replace the pipes, but they don't want to spend the money to replace the pipes, so the water's still bad.
Wild to me that it's been this long and nobody's like, I'm just going to fix this.
Yep.
That could be a reasonable thing for Poison Ivy to come in with here and just be like the Batman mid-fight. Excuse me, but you do realize that, all your fire is green because every single entity that comes into the city is polluted. The lightning is green because there's stuff up in the sky. Like, you saw that penguin guy lived in a toxic waste sewer. Have you cleaned that up? Like, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help your goddamn society by bringing...
This is why I'm not a Batman fan, is because as Bruce Wayne, he could do more for the city than he's doing as Batman. As Bruce Wayne, he could go in and clean that stuff up.
Yeah. Just like Bezos, instead of going to space, could replace all of the pipes in Flint, Michigan and give people clean drinking water again.
Yeah, and it would literally cost him 0.1% of his wealth or something.
Yeah.
It'd be nothing.
That's why Bruce Wayne's keeping his identity secret. He's like, I'm not worried for my safety or anything. It's just people criticize me so much for spending my money on this.
All these people asking for handouts, these snowflakes who...
I know I can help out, but I'd much rather spend my money on a rocket car that I'm going to crash again this week because I crashed all the other ones.
Again, though, the real world makes Batman seem even more realistic then. That's exactly what these people do.
To really understanding the thugs of Gotham now, it's like, we're just frustrated. We have to live in the city, but no one's helping us. And there's some asshole was flying around wasting his money on grappling hooks and crap.
Oh, God. Do you want to know my boring explanation for the fire? I have no evidence of this. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to speculate. I think, with the studio trying to tame the darker elements of these movies, I think they genuinely probably were like, fire's too aggressive and scary.
Yeah.
You've got to change it visually, because in video games they used to do that a lot. Like a lot of games back in the old days were like, well, don't show blood, make it green or something.
Yeah, that's what happened with Evil Dead 2. That's why it's just freaking covered in green slime. It's just like,
oh, is that why?
Yeah, so you got to change it from red because otherwise you'll just get like an X rating. No one will get to see the thing.
There you go. And I know it's not to the same level, but I genuinely, because of all the other stories we've heard of them, think that the studio just went, no, you can't have too many flames.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I think it's the same with Taxi Driver. I think Scorsese was told to color correct the ending because it's like that blood looks too realistic. And so then he changed it, and then he was like, "Oh, it looks like really surreal and weird. I actually like it better now that it's that I've amped it up. It looks like a dream or something." So.
Well, that's probably how it happened here. But then Schumacher's like, you know what? Neon's my thing. Let's lean into it, baby.
The green fire. It reminded me of, they make these little packets of dust. I think some of them are like little bricks you put in like campfires. They sell them at camping stores that make the fire go various different colors. And they're marketed to kids.
What?
Be like fun. You put it in the fire and it turns blue and green. And
well, if you want a light green flame, apparently you can use borax. But if you want like more of a verdant green, you could use the copper sulfate that I mentioned earlier.
Oh, okay. Here goes science. You're learning here on Batminute, listeners. Very important information.
I suppose it's if they're marketing it to kids. Like, I guess we're supposed to assume that Spike and the rest are like teenagers. They are kids, because I mean, Chris O'Donnell.
They should all be 12.
Again, it should be free. You could have. That's one of the things you could have had Corey Haim play Spike, because I guess he was still a young guy at the time. But I just think it might have been like too much of a liability. You just can't rely on him. But yeah, I should note that, because I know, John, way back when the bike that Barbara is riding was first introduced, you brought up the fact that it's like a Honda VLX and whatnot and stuff. But I did look into the Internet Movie Car Database to check what other films that particular brand of bike has appeared in. And apparently on set, they did stress that they modified it quite a bit. And they actually used to call her bike the Silverstone 2001X.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then, weird enough, she got her bike was named that. And then the one that Dick Grayson's riding was called the Schumacher 9000. Like,
Oh, I thought you were
O'Donnell.
going to say the Losermobile.
It was like O'Donnell been told, like, yeah, we're not calling your bike by your name. Like,
no.
yourself, kid.
Nobody cares about you.
But it was, so this the Honda VXL or VLX 600 Shadow. It is featured in such movies as Alien Intruder, 1993.
That classic.
Yeah, it features Maxwell Caulfield, of course, Rex Manning from Rex Manning Day, Empire Records, who of course that also starred Liv Tyler, who was in the video for Crazy with Alicia Silverstone. And also stars Jeff Conaway, One Stars a Taxi, Andy Kaufman, Danny DeVito, etc., etc. Jim Carrey, all that. And also Billy D. Williams is in Alien Intruder. Also should mention, too, Maxwell Caulfield, Grease 2, Cool Rider, Michelle Pfeiffer, blah, 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 blah.
Everything's connected.
And yeah, Billy D. Williams. And goes to the plot line is space-traveling convicts become victims of their own fantasies when virtual reality is made to go wrong.
This sounds like everything we've been talking about all week.
That's
Mixed together in a blender.
That's your typical holodeck gone wrong episode of Star Trek right there.
I tell you what, I love all of those episodes, even though the fans are usually like, these are the lazy ones. I don't care. If I'm getting like Nazis invading the Enterprise, great episode. Actually, it's never the Enterprise. It's always Voyager, isn't it, with the Nazis, I think.
You also just feel, too, for the writing staff. It's like, we got to make 21 of these a year. Like,
yeah.
Let us stretch out and do a Wild West episode. Come on, just give it to us.
Why not? Yeah.
But yes, Alien Intruder, a whopping 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Oh, that's right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think that's a future hiatus episode right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I should also mention, too, I've constantly alluded to the fact that I despise the music in this scene, particularly coming off the highs of having Moloko last week. But I thought originally this is just like Elliot Goldenthal doing some generic dance music for it. But apparently, no. This is from Underworld.
Yeah.
The song written specifically for the Batman and Robin soundtrack. It is,
And they're very big, Underworld.
yeah.
Or they were, anyway, not now.
I don't know if they ever hit big. Like, do you guys know Underworld? Does that bring up beyond the Kate Beckinsale?
I was about to say, I thought you were talking about the movie.
No. Underworld are like a dance trance band from the 90s. They were very big over here.
Yeah, I know nothing
I've
about
no
dance
earthly
trance
idea.
bands from the 90s.
So I don't particularly like them. Like, I despise it as a genre, but they did do their big song was Born Slippy, which was like the spin-off single for Trainspotting. And you probably know it if you heard it. It's got this really somber kind of start, and then it's just it just goes on and on and on like that. It's inane gibberish. But
It weirdly does get stuck in your head, though, doesn't it? The tune of it. You can't get rid of it.
I mean, Born Slippy sounds like a perfect way to describe Barbara and Dick in this scene.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's kind of shocking though. They're quite a well-regarded band because I guess if you just like dance music, you'd be into that kind of stuff. Because like I know that people love The Prodigy, but I can't stand them, like because it's just full-on intense dance.
I'm
music.
in the middle. I'm not really big into dance music, but they've got enough of a rocky, punky element to them where it's like, okay, I can latch onto that at least.
I know people have seen them live. And I was like, oh, I've seen footage of them live, and it seems like it would be hell for me. And they're like, oh, no, it's amazing. I was off my face, though, when I was watching it. They call it Acid House for a reason. Like, you're supposed to take some supplements to help you along the way. But
You need some assistance with the dance music, yeah.
Although, not to dump entirely on Underworld, they also did, because Danny Boyle obviously directed Trainspotting, they also did the music for the final scene of Danny Boyle's Sunshine, which of course features Cillian Murphy, the Scarecrow.
Oh, the space film.
Yeah, and there's a really the ending of that movie is beautiful, and a lot of it's because of like the lovely score that comes in, and apparently that song in particular that plays over the last scene is by Underworld. So I'm like, I'll give them props for that. That's a great bit of music, but that's much more of a ethereal, lovely, light bit of stuff rather than ish, 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 ish. That's just for... Apparently, I think the original version of this is 10 minutes long, this song, Moaner.
Ooh.
And then they released a single that was...
3 minutes?
It was even longer.
What? Jeez. Oh, come on.
I think in the album version, they call it like a Moaner long version, and then the single was actually longer than that.
So there is out there somewhere a fabled short version.
Yeah. I don't know. You guys, have you ever been into dance music in any way, shape, or form? Or I don't even know if dance music ever really hit America.
No.
I know in the UK it was a massive thing because of like the Manchester scene and stuff like that. But I don't know if America ever kind of got into it.
I think, don't you like have it there now? Whereas here, it's very much like 1990. You know?
I mean, there's always subcultures. There's always little pockets that you're going to find here and there, but they're definitely not playing it on the radio.
No, they did here for a bit. Like, again, early 90s. It did
Oh, yeah.
make its way to the radio
I
somehow.
remember
It was
hearing
weird.
a bit of it on the radio, because the 90s were throw something against the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah, for better or worse.
Yep.
Often both at once.
Yeah. That's the 'cause, like BBC Radio 6 over here. That's like the best music station.
Oh, I have it on permanently in the bed. It's playing now in my bedroom. I leave it on for the cat.
But it's like it's too eclectic because it's time to go out and you're making your porridge at like 7:30, and it goes from like, oh, here's Jefferson Airplane, and all of a sudden like, here's Basement Jacks. Oosh, oosh, oosh. You're like, who wants this early in the day? Goddamn.
And now an hour introduced by Iggy Pop. And you're like, okay, all right. And it won't be Iggy Pop doing punk music or anything like that. It's like, no, hey guys, I'm here to play some jazz.
Yeah. That's a pretty spot on Iggy Pop impression right there as well.
Yeah, he always just kind of talks like this.
You know, you'd be disappointed if he was sitting in the studio when he had a shirt on. You just go, no, Iggy. It's got to be the skin tight jeans unbuttoned with the no shirt all the time now. Like you pegged yourself into that box.
He's supposed to be living clean, so he's gonna stay fit, right?
Yeah,
he's very healthy. Like he does a lot of yoga and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, people make fun of him sometimes. Like, oh, look, he's saggy. It's like he's an old person. He looks great. If I look that good when I'm his age, amazing.
Yeah. He doesn't look terrible. He's being ravaged by time, like all of us are.
Yeah, like we are right now. Tick tock, tick tock.
We will all someday dissolve into dust and be forgotten to the annals of time. Why do you think we make podcasts?
Exactly. And actually, speaking of podcasts, we should probably get back on topic.
Although before we do, just should also say, just to be anal, should also mention Iggy Pop's "Lust for Life" was the other spin-off single for Trainspotting. So there it is, Born Slippy and "Lust for Life."
True. Right, I have the guy who comes off his bike here, and sparks fly again for no reason whatsoever.
Arguably, Spike saves this guy's life.
Well, his reaction is hilarious to me because it reminded me so much of Sebulba. You know, when he crashes and he's like, poodoo. I just wanted the guy to shout poodoo. Which is a thing in Star Wars that I hate, poodoo, right? Because they're clearly using it as a swear word. I mean, you have to beep this now. They're clearly saying
yeah.
But then it's translated as fodder. In other scenes, bantha poodoo is translated as bantha fodder. It's like, well, they're two different things.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know what banthas eat.
well, true.
Although it's Star Wars, there probably is like some encyclopedia that tells you exactly what banthas eat is.
Oh yeah, some jerk will have figured out something that makes sense. Yeah.
I do like that guy. He does have a real like kind of vibe about him. It's like, I've survived, but I could have won the race though.
My parents are gonna be so mad I wrecked their bike. And Spike shouting now, you know, and his hired guns emerged from the shadows, firebombing the bridge. Right? Surely this is just as dangerous to Spike.
And also, we're already confused by it. It's like, not too bad for a chick and all this business, as if Barbara could hear him. This guy is 5 feet down the road. I'm gonna hear it now. It's like, I guess it looks like he's close enough. Maybe
he's gesticulating. I think that's a now. Go. But like, you can't firebomb this tiny bridge and somehow expect him to just be fine. Because he's not really slowing down much. A little bit.
Well, I guess they're just like, Spike knows. He knows the risks. You gotta just hope he knows what he's doing.
If he knows that's where the trap is going to be, he knows to start slowing down.
Yeah.
Where everybody else in the race would interpret that as, oh, I have a chance to speed up and catch ahead.
To speed up and go off the end of the bridge no matter what happens.
And
you don't even need the firebombs.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious that there's no end to that bridge, right?
Yeah. You can see it miles away.
Yeah, I don't know if there was supposed to be like they're planning to do a jump. Like a la actually Dick Grayson's earlier, his like, I can make that jump, all that business with Batman. But like, yeah, otherwise it could be like, well, if I don't get them with the fire, I'll at least get them to drive off the edge of this thing. But yeah, it's impenetrable to know what the hell the thinking of this race is.
The whole scene is baffling. Because then when they go over the edge of the bridge as well, they skid, they slide, they go over the end of the bridge. Dick saves Barbara. He grabs her by the foot at the last second. Oh, it's so heroic. Right, okay, they're hanging there.
Well, before they hang there, I just want to mention that, like, the idea of a reinforced motorcycle jacket is a thing. Like, you can buy Kevlar reinforced jackets that will allow you to slide along the pavement, and the Kevlar plates and the material of the jacket will wear away instead of your skin. Also a thing are Teflon jackets, which are meant to be more weatherproof. So the rain falls right off you. What it appears to be happening here in the scene is that both Barbara and Dick are wearing a Teflon coating that makes them slide indefinitely because the bridge is flat.
I was going to ask about that.
The way it's shot in some shots, they want you to think that it's angled, but no, the bridge is perfectly flat.
Yeah, that was all the questions I had. Was like, oh, I can understand. Yeah, if it was maybe like going downwards, but then it's like, no, it cuts back to it's like, no, it's just it's an uncompleted bridge. But basically, yeah, they start to skid, and they skid for about 5 miles. Basically,
you'd stop after a few seconds in real life.
Yeah,
exactly.
This is as if Mr. Freeze was there and friggin' froze. I can understand maybe that was part of the thing. It's like, oh yeah, Mr. Freeze froze that bridge last night. That's why we're having the race here, and that was part of the bit. But it is like, yeah, this is inexplicable as to why the hell they're going so. It is such a long skid. That's just like. Have they greased it with oil or something? Like, what the hell's going on in this thing?
I mean, you could have absolutely set up something where maybe Freeze had a goon that was following Robin. And so this is a chance for Freeze to pop up and be like, oh, hello, bird boy. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. I don't know.
Have a nice sleep.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Mind the pavement. Don't let it slip your mind.
Doesn't he say something like, mind the pavement he says something like that in Red Heat when he slams a guy into the floor.
Oh, I can't remember. It's not actually been too long since I've seen Red Heat as well. It's like, damn it.
Underrated movie, Red Heat. Because you get Arnold Schwarzenegger doing a terrible Russian accent going, cocainium. It's amazing.
He's got the man mountain with him, the little Ushanka on top of his head, little furry hat. It's like, anything on Arnie looks ridiculous because he is just almost inhuman in how he looks. But
But my problem, I mean, there's a lot of problems, but the problem I was going to mention is when they're hanging there, Dick removes his helmet to speak to her. Which we've already said he doesn't need to do because they can clearly hear each other for some reason. But he does this while they are hanging upside down by his foot.
Yeah, I have
this is not the moment
issues.
to be taking your helmet off.
Speaking of helmets coming off, and Julia, you probably want to get into this, how Barbara's helmet just
falls off.
Yeah.
Safety.
It reminded me of I Think You Should Leave, just like, motorbike safety, just like, oh, a great bike helmet is whiffs off my head when I'm driving.
When I went to buy a new helmet, I just grabbed one off the shelf that was like, I don't know, a medium. I don't remember how they're measured, but somewhere mid-range. Popped it on my head, felt tight. So I was like, cool. And then the sales lady comes over. She's like, no, that's way too big for you. She grabs me another one, puts it on my head, and like, she grabs my head and shakes it around.
Whoa.
And it moved a little bit on my head. She said, nope, it's still too big. So she grabbed me a smaller one. This thing barely got on my head.
Oh, man.
And she grabbed my head, shook it around, no movement. She's like, that's the safe helmet for you. There is no way a properly fitted helmet would fly off Barbara's head like this.
Oh, that's crazy. Like, I mean, it makes sense when you explain it that way, because obviously if it's moving around, that'll damage your brain. It'll smash into your head. But at the same time, I've never thought of it being that tight on your head. That'd be scary in a way. I'd be like, oh.
Speaking of motorcycle helmets being improperly sized, there is a classic scene, a classic shot from the first Mad Max movie where Max has just he's just unseated a couple of motorcyclists on a bridge, and it's a close-up shot of one of the cyclists being slapped in the back of the head by a motorcycle tire. And everybody was watching that saying like, oh, that killed him. He died on production and all that other stuff. But the real story is that his head was so much smaller than the size of that helmet called for that they had added extra padding to the inside of that helmet. So it was the extra padding that technically saved him when the tire hit him as it was sliding around. But the way that the helmet canted off in such a weird angle, everybody thought, oh, no, that snapped his neck.
Okay.
Yeah, so like Julia said, motorcycle helmets need to be very tight to be safe.
Yeah, if you hang upside down, they don't fall off your head.
Exactly.
That's kind of a vital piece of the equipment, is that they don't just come off.
Yeah, even if the chin strap is not done up, it should not fly off your head.
Yep. Now, a side effect of that is that it makes your hair look bad. There's when you pull that off, you have instant hat hair. So there's no way that her hair is going to look anywhere near normal after having that helmet on for so long.
This is something we've noticed in this film. No matter what happens, her hair looks incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's just a Joel Schumacher
totally
rule.
get that, because her hair, Alicia Silverstone's hair, is part of her celebrity.
Yeah.
It's part of her. It's a huge part of her look. When you think of Cher from Clueless, when you think of that music video, you think of her hair.
Just actually, in speaking about that music video as well, this angle of there's a couple of callbacks going on here, intertextual callbacks within the scenario of Dick catching her in this fashion, particularly as he's wearing his Robin helmet, like the one with the radical Robin painting over the top of it. Because in Batman Forever, when he's looking at that helmet, he tells Alfred a story about his family, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, my brother's line snapped, and I went out and grabbed him." And, my mother said I flew in like a robin. And that's where he gets his name from. And now he grabs, it's a very Flying Graysons-esque kind of scenario they're in, where he's had to grab her by the foot and save her life. And it's also indicating that, like, the Bat family is growing. Nick Grayson's new family has got a new member here. So it's like a little callback to that scene in that scenario.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's always nice when you've got a character who is, like, playing the wingman to another character, and he's got a bird-themed name. You think about like Goose from Top Gun and Goose from Mad Max and the cat named Goose from Captain Marvel. Just a few examples.
A long tradition of gooses.
Yeah.
Gooses, geese, I guess.
So, and that scene in Batman Forever was like, gee, what does that stand for? Goose. Now you're changing that, kid. I'm not going out with a goose.
That could be a new Batman character, the Goose.
I mean, what they say, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
But I'll also add, in talking about potential callbacks, I might be reading too much into this one, but I don't know, considering the year this came out and stuff. Okay, so mentioned that Lisa Silverstone did video for Aerosmith. She actually did 3. They're known as the Aliciad, like the Iliad, but with Alicia Silverstone.
Oh.
Please tell me that's real and you didn't just make that up.
No, I've been reading up on them. They're referred to as the Aliciad.
Yes!
But in the early 90s, prior to being in Clueless, the reason she got Clueless was because she became very, very famous in 1993 for doing... First was the video for Crying. There are 4 spin-off singles from the Aerosmith album Get a Grip. The first one was Living on the Edge, which the video of that was a big, massive budget thing that nobody liked and starred Edward Furlong. So Terminator 2, Arnold Schwarzenegger, everything's connected. But yeah, then the next one they did was Crying. And that brought in Alicia Silverstone, like a very, very underground actress at that point. I think she'd just done The Crush, and that was like her kind of only known thing. And then that was like the most popular video of 1993 in the MTV Music Awards, and it's accredited with the popularity of that song due to the video. apparently tripled sales of the album and stuff like that.
Wow.
And so then eventually, she was brought back for the next two singles, which were Amazing and Crazy. And Crazy is the one with Liv Tyler, where the two of them go out and just go on a raucous old time. But the video of Crying is like, it stars her and Steven Dorff, where she spots him. He's, her boyfriend. She spots him in the cinema cheating on her. So they're having a little canoodle in the car. She ends up like kneeing him in the groin, kicking him out of his own car, and then stealing it on him. And then she goes on a rampage. Well, not a rampage. She goes off and does like a load of like crazy teenage rebellious stuff. Like she gets a tattoo. She gets her belly button pierced, and apparently that being in that video is accredited as being the piercing point for introducing navel piercings to American mainstream culture. Apparently after that, they said like it was a huge boom in teenagers getting their navels pierced after that because of Alicia Silverstone in that video. And the video
when we were like 15 now, every girl was going out and getting their belly button pierced.
Oh, apparently you can trace that back to Alicia, and they say it's to do with her. But at the end of the video, there's a very kind of weird scenario where she's standing on the edge of a bridge, and like all the police are there, and it looks like she's going to jump off. And Steven Dorff like shows up. And he says, "Oh, don't do it," and stuff. Obviously, you can't hear him because Aerosmith's playing over the top of everything. And then she jumps off backwards, and it turns out she's on a bungee cord. And she looks up and she gives Steven Dorff the finger. And that was very, very famous video. And Joel Schumacher is a music video guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he directed video for In Excess and stuff. And the angle of Barbara here, as she's looking up from dangling off a bridge back at Dick, looks very similar to me to the angle of Alicia Silverstone giving that finger to Steven Dorff. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
If I've actually put like a little screen like in the Zoom chat there, there's a little link to an image from it. I don't know. You'd probably look at it and be like, no, there's no connection to it whatsoever.
I don't think they're like, let's recreate that image. I think it's too different. But I definitely think Schumacher is the kind of person who would be like, let's put in some kind of a similar thing, a similar vibe.
Like a high angle on Alicia.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he'll be like, yeah, it's a little nod. And actually looking at that, like at what she had done at this point in her career, like you look at Clueless to me, and obviously beyond the fact you can see like, oh, she's a great actress in that. It doesn't scream to me that's Batgirl, like that's Barbara Gordon.
Oh no.
But you watch that video for Crying, where she's a little more. She's written in this movie almost as if she's based on the character in that music video. That's what they wanted, rather than her being like Cher Horowitz and stuff. And so, yeah, again, I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually the reason she got this role, was because, like, oh, I want the girl from the MTV, the Aerosmith music videos, rather than, the Clueless girl.
That would make sense, yeah. And she's not acting like she does in Clueless in this, so... Yeah.
No, that's the thing. It's a completely different kind of character. And, yeah, although, weirdly enough, apparently Alicia is very, like... She's very standoffish about the Aerosmith stuff these days. Like, she's fully accepting and embraces Clueless. But she's always been, throughout her career, like, I was just in some music videos. Like, I'm a proper actress, Like, I just happened to be in these Aerosmith videos. You don't have to keep bringing them up.
It would get annoying because, as fun as it is to be in a music video, it's not real acting.
Yeah. And also, too, the first one's not too bad. But as they go on, they get more sexual. And I think she was uncomfortable by the time Clueless rolls around of like, yeah, I've been ogled quite a bit by people. And I'm not too happy about it. So, yeah I think that's... but that's the thing, of course, follows Alicia throughout her entire career in the 90s, where unwanted attention was given to her in that regard. So, but yeah. But yeah, I'm putting down my fan theory, my personal headcanon, that this is all a little tie-in to her when she first made her big mark in Hollywood as being the girl from the Aerosmith videos.
I do like that. I like it a lot. But it's something I don't... Well, I was going to say something I don't like. I don't know. I'm torn on this. When they're hanging there, we get one of the cheesiest lines in the history of film. So, this is where you hang out? It's like, you're not Arnold, kid. Come on.
You know what? I actually really like that line.
Oh, come on. Come on,
that's a real Dick Grayson line. Like, it's
It is, but Dick Grayson is annoying.
Yeah, I think that even in at his height at Nightwing in the comics and stuff, he would say something like that. It's like that's what Dick Grayson would say. It just tracks it. It feels also like something I would say if I was in that scenario. So
you're saying you're a jerk? Okay.
yeah,
The line is cheesy, but what really makes it, for me at least, is Alicia Silverstone's reaction to it. That labored sigh, as if to say, first and foremost, it's you, but also, that line.
Yeah.
And the fact that she had to be saved because you could see her. She's reaching out for the rebar. She misses it. Her helmet flies off, and he just happens to be there. And he's not rubbing her face in it, but just like, hey, I've saved you. I had to save you. And she's just like, ugh, let me die. Let go of me right now and just let me fall.
It's a triple whammy of offensive things to her, and I think her reaction, as you say, going through her mind is like, just drop me, please end this nightmare right now.
Yeah, because Dick is first impressions do last, and he is the please be looking for me guy when she showed up at the door. So
yeah,
I was like, oh god, not this guy.
He's the kind of person wh'll complain in 6 months that he's been friend zoned.
Yes, yeah.
Ew, just so ew.
Which, so far at least in the movie, she's made absolutely no indication that she's interested in him. She likes bikes. That's their only connection.
Yeah. Oh, she's only there for. We find out next week she's there for one sole reason: to get Alfred away from his career of dismal servitude.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a topic and a half to get into right there.
So what you're saying is that if Barbara were like, if this movie was time shifted from 1997 to 2017 or 2021, if you want to be like really thinking, Barbara would have her phone out being #EatTheRich.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Why not?
Well, I mean, the thing that would be how instead of them having to have any kind of a bike chase, Dick would find out about her just by going on her Twitter account and seeing like, holy crap, she's like this full-on leftist. I didn't know. Bruce, did you know about this?
Run, she's the Antifa.
Does anyone else have any notes for minute 66?
No,
Nope.
That's the perfect way to end.
But of course, though, before we do end the show, we always ask the guests now as tradition, because Batman and Robin regarded as one of the worst films ever made. We're asking the guests what they believe the worst film they've ever seen is.
Julia, would you like to go first, or should I?
I would like to go first,
Okay.
I think. Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Oh, shots
Ooh.
fired at other movies by minute host over here as well. Too.
Yes. Johnny and I have a understanding. We're okay.
We see each other across a room. We just turn our heads and just don't acknowledge each other.
Well, here's the important question, right? Because as a kid, when that movie came out, I loved it. In retrospect now, it's not good. But do you like the first one? Because I think the first one holds up.
Ooh, okay. I don't.
Ooh.
Mostly because it's not my type of humor. But there's something about the first one that is more classic.
Yeah. The second one just doubles down on all the things that you obviously are indicating you don't like.
Right.
And it really goes overboard with them.
Yes. So I'm willing to watch the first Austin Powers. In fact, I did. Did I?
I believe you did.
Rick, did I watch it for Johnny's podcast?
Pretty sure.
Did I go on her podcast?
Maybe.
I don't
It was a
remember.
while ago.
It was a while.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, it will
but
be
I
now.
will not go further than the first one.
I'm that way now. Yeah. I loved them all when they came out, but now just give me one.
I still enjoy The Spy Who Shagged Me, although I have not seen Goldmember since the cinema.
Oh,
So,
okay. I think
don't know.
it's fine. It's,
Yeah, I'd be curious if we do get invited on for Goldmember. I was like, it's been like 20 years, I guess, now since then. So all I can remember is Michael Caine and Beyonce, as knowing that they were in it. That's the whole thing.
No, but surely we need the bit with Mini-Me being played by Danny DeVito at the start.
Yeah, that'll be the open. I don't know how far into recording Johnny is. I know it's all go, but I don't know if she's actually started yet. But Although that's the same bits because it's Kevin Spacey as Dr. Evil, so it's like that's him to get some unpleasantness out of the roads within the first couple of episodes right there.
Plus,
Jesus
you've got
Christ.
Tom Cruise as the movie version of Austin Powers.
Yeah. At least you can kind of make fun of him, though, whereas what do you even say about Spacey now? It's like, Jesus Christ.
But Rick, you're not going to come in and like, yeah, Groundhog Day. It's the worst thing ever.
All right.
Indiana Jones.
I'm not going to come for any of the other Movies by Minute hosts with my movie that I consider be the worst ever created, but I am going to stick fairly close to the realm wherein we podcast. The worst movie that I have ever seen was Babe, Pig in the City.
Oh my God. I assume, did you watch it? Did you rewatch it due to the director?
So we watched it as one of our hiatus episodes. We watch children's movies every once in a while. Now, George Miller, who directed Mad Max and all of the subsequent movies, he wrote the first Babe movie, and he stepped into the director and writer's position for the sequel.
Yeah.
And
It's so bad.
it's a very bad movie. Basically, all of the charm from the first film, the story of Babe learning to be a sheep herding pig and the interactions that Babe has with the farmer, all of that is stripped away for the sequel, and it basically drops Babe into a carnival of nonsense. And the side characters are obnoxious. The human characters are relegated to the background, and good because they're awful. The story is very unsatisfying. The decisions that are made are incredibly frustrating. The action sequences go on way too long. The set dressing is interesting to look at, and that is the best thing I can say about it. Honestly, it's not worth watching.
Oh, that's an interesting choice. That's a new one.
Yeah, absolutely despise that movie.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not pulling my punches just because I got to hang out with George Miller that one time.
But to spin things into a more positive light to end on, because Batman and Robin is also beloved by many segments of society, but we are also asking guests if they have a movie that's regarded as being bad that they personally love.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump in first for this one because people will probably, if they're familiar with me, not be surprised. But I love Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. And people, even in the Mad Max fan community, they hate Beyond Thunderdome. And it is such a fun movie. It does a lot to build the world that Max exists in. I mean, sure, there's plenty of meme content, but the side characters are well developed. Everybody seems to start at one point and end at another point. No one is static in this movie. The action scenes are excellent. We would never have the Thunderdome without Beyond Thunderdome. The kids are nowhere near as annoying as you think they are. And the fact that the ending race of that movie is between cars versus a train, and it works. Like, that's something you never would think of.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes, my movie is Mamma Mia.
Oh,
1 and 2.
2 as well.
Oh, 2 is better than 1. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again is one of my favorite movies ever. It's so good. It's better than it has any right to be. I'm not sure if this is a universally panned movie, but my impression of it was that it was not a good movie. And for years and years, I didn't watch it. Then I saw it on a plane and I was like, wait, what? Like, this is pretty good. And so I watched it a couple of times and I was reticent to watch the sequel because it's a sequel, sequels. But then I did, and it's even better than the first one.
Oh, okay. This is interesting because I have not watched it because of similar things. Like, it wasn't very well regarded critically.
Yes.
But it's one of those that's got a massive audience of, I'm trying to think what we'd call them here. What would we call them here now? The people who like that, like Huns. They're like, it's a bit like Karens, That's the audience it attracts. And so it's like, oh no, I'm not watching it. But I do like musicals, so maybe I need to give it a go.
But like, watch the first one once.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. It's fine. But it's really to get you to number 2,
Yeah.
which is one of my favorite movies.
Because the sequel to Mamma Mia is it's a sequel, but it's also a prequel. Like
Flashbacks.
the present day story
Okay.
is a
Yeah.
sequel, but all the flashbacks are prequel to the first movie.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited. I want to watch that one then. I want to watch To Mama, To Mia. Okay.
Yes. Go for it.
But anywho, but yeah, thanks for coming on, guys.
Oh, thank you for having
Our
us.
pleasure.
Yeah, always
welcome anytime.
our pleasure. And before we head off once more into the dark night, would you like to plug your show one more time, or anything you have coming up? Even I don't know. You might have a new project.
Certainly. If anyone is interested in hearing more of our voices, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for Mad Max Minute. You can also find us on Facebook by searching Mad Max Minute. But all of our social media links and links to our different shows can be found at madmaxminute.com, where you can listen to each of the minute-by-minute breakdowns of the Mad Max movies one at a time. They're all in their own separate feeds, so you don't have to scroll back through 400 episodes to find what you're looking for. And if you're up for something a little bit more wet, you can listen to our coverage of Waterworld H2O minutes at a time, which has been so very interesting to fill the time between now and whenever the Furiosa prequel comes out.
But yes, check that out, everybody. And as usual, come and check us out. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that. Head over to the Sleepy Charlie Media Patreon. You can get extra wonderful bonus episodes, commentaries. There'll be a new table read up by the time you hear this, probably. I guess.
Yeah. It's done. It's out already.
Yeah.
Not on the feed, but it'll be there by now.
We're putting it on the feed eventually. It'll be like a bonus thing. So check all of that out as well, and we'll be back on Monday with more Batminute and Robin action and new guests for your delight. Au revoir, Batmites.
Next time, more like Cher Horowitz. Barb babbles backstory back at Bruce's abode, and a boy is left in wonder at her expository load. There's orphan origins orated and abrasive attitudes, but what defense does Dick have for Alfred's dismal servitude? Motor mouths are left running come Monday, Batmites. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
We'll be back.
Arr.